what's up guys? It is Carly here. Welcome back to my living room floor. This has become, I guess, the new spot for doing these lengthy videos, and I don't know, I kind of dig it. So, this is yet another update video for you all. I've once again accumulated quite a bit of things over the past few weeks. I'm going to be slowing down here again on buying because it's getting a little out of hand with the 2-watch stack once again. But have a good amount of stuff here. Some of the stuff you probably already seen me talk about in previous videos, so I do apologize for that. But, you know, I like to pile it all together and just do one big video for anyone who might not watch my other content. So, to get right into it, I'm just going to start with 2 shirts that I got here recently. And first up we have this shirt of The Shining girls. I just thought this looked super awesome. Got this at Hot Topic, and I had actually seen this at another Hot Topic a few weeks prior to that and was gonna buy it, but all they had was, I believe it was like extra small or extra large, and those aren't my sizes, and they only had one left, so didn't get it then. Then I went to another Hot Topic and they actually had it in my size, had to grab it, and yeah, super cool. One of the ones that I've been wearing more often now than not, because obviously The Shining is one of my favorite movies, and I just love the black and white look to it. So there is that one. And then after that we have this Scream one, just pretty much the Scream poster minus the floating heads, but Scream is another one of my all-time favorite horror movies, and I just love the red prints of Scream down there. I think it's like a cool touch for the shirts, and super cool shirt to wear around. It looks awesome when you put it on. So yeah, always trying to grow my shirt collection when I can. Hot Topic is pretty much my favorite place to buy shirts nowadays. Some of the ones I have are kind of cheesy, but nowadays it seems like they've been really upping the game when it comes to the horror shirts and making them pretty cool like this. So always happy with that. Now we're gonna move along to the DVDs, I suppose, and first up we have this Goosebumps episode, or multiple episodes, I guess you could say. It's got Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns, Vampire Breath, and Let's Get Invisible on it, and all of them are actually pretty good episodes. I always mention Goosebump episodes come off as really, really cheesy and dated, and I feel that these ones weren't as bad, though. I think these are kind of the later ones. I think as they went on, they got a little bit better. Still cheesy at times and a little bit cringeworthy, but not too bad. And, you know, I just have fun collecting these. They're fun little things to throw on late at night if you really don't feel like paying attention to a movie. So, always happy to collect those and build that collection up. Then after that, we actually have another Goosebumps episode, and that is One Day at Horrorland. It's got One Day at Horrorland and Welcome to Camp Nightmare on it, both of which are like the double to be continued episodes. So you technically have like 4 episodes all on this disc, and again, these were actually not too bad. I think the longer ones are probably the best ones that they do, where it's 2 episodes, or you need 2 episodes to complete one story. I think those are the best ones that they have out there. So I actually enjoyed these ones quite a bit. And then we have yet another Goosebumps, and this one only has 1 on it, and that is Cry of the Cat. I got this at a thrift store. It's pretty beat up on the back here, but figured I would just grab it because I do enjoy collecting these. Cry of the Cat, that was kind of a weirder one. I had never really heard of that story before, but I actually dug it. It was interesting. It definitely had its share of cringe moments in it throughout the whole thing, but wasn't too bad. It was pretty enjoyable. Once again, just a fun little thing to put on late at night. It's mindless, just kids fun, kids horror pretty much. Then after that, the movies here are ones that were actually sent to me from Brandon, known from the Exploding Heads Horror Podcast. He actually sent me 9 movies plus 1 movie that he was supposed to send me to begin with, and I'll be talking about that one as well in this, but basically it was a movie I won on a contest on, you know, just one, not a contest really, but where, you know, you pull a random name and whoever you pull wins, and I won it, and he was supposed to send it to me, but it took him a long time to send it, so he felt that he had to send me 9 other movies with it to make up for it, which was completely nice of him. He did not have to do that at all. I would have been happy with getting that movie anyway, so I really appreciate that he did that. And the movies he sent were all pretty good films and ones that I did not own. So that is awesome. Shout out to him. And first up we have Atrocious here. I don't really know much about this film, but I saw a lot of people saying it's a pretty underrated, hidden gem type of film. It's a bloody, disgusting selects, and yeah, I saw some pretty good things about it. I believe it looks like it's found footage, so I've become big on found footage films. I think they can be some of the scariest when they're done right, so I'm definitely excited to check this one out. Then after that we have The Night of the Devils. This is another one he sent me, and I don't know anything about this really at all. It looks like it's an Italian film. I'm not sure if it's a giallo or just some Italian horror movie or what, but looks like it could be interesting. You know, I'm not huge on my Italian cinema, as I've mentioned time and time again, but this one actually looks like it might be a fun time. Looks like it's set in like a psychiatric hospital, so that's always intriguing to me. Then lastly, for the DVDs, we have a movie called Shiver. Again, I don't really know much about this, or I really don't know about this one at all. It says it's from the producer of Pan's Labyrinth and The Orphanage, and it looks like it's you know, a Spanish movie, so looks like it could be interesting, maybe a ghostly type of film of sorts. So we'll have to see on that. I really don't know anything about this one, but that's pretty cool. I know there's multiple movies called Shivers, but yeah, we'll have to see. And then moving right along, we're going to get into the VHS tapes here. And first up we have Firestarter, of course, Stephen King's Firestarter, starring Drew Barrymore. This is one I saw time and time again on TV growing up. I was never a huge fan of it. I didn't own it on any other format though, and I happened upon this at this sort of antique flea market-y type place that they opened up in the mall. I mentioned this in my horror hunting video. They just open it, and it's where people can pretty much set up tables and sell whatever they want, and they don't have to be there though. It's just like this one company sells the stuff for them, and all they have to do is set it up, I guess. But this is a little overpriced. This was actually like $5, which is way more than I would usually pay for a tape. But the guy does, whoever was selling it, does keep them in these little slip cases. He does the same for his books that he was selling, so and these look like they're in pretty brand new condition. And once again, I didn't own this on any other format, and just kind of wanted to pick something up, so I didn't really mind spending $5 in this instance, but typically I would not pay that for a tape. But yeah, Firestarter, it's a decent movie, not one of my favorites, but not one of the worst either. Then after that we have Godzilla 1985. I'm not super interested in Godzilla films, if I'm being completely honest, but I just thought that this was a cool one to find on tape. Once again, I found this at that same place I just mentioned, sold by a different person though. It's fun to walk around there and try to see if you can scope out any VHS tapes, because I was actually about to leave, and then this caught my eye in a corner, and there's one other one here that I bought from that same table that I'll mention in a little bit. But Godzilla 85, just thought it'd be cool to get on VHS. There's so many Godzilla movies. I think it's just, anytime there's like a lot of movies in either a franchise or just about the same sort of character or storyline, I think it's kind of cool to try to collect them, so figured I would grab it. Then after that we have The Guardian. I actually bought this at a Cash and Culture, about 45 minutes to an hour away from me. Cash and Culture is that store that I said was close to me, and that one went out of business, but there's still two more in existence. They're just not as nearby. I bought this at one of the farther away ones, and they never used to sell VHS tapes, but they just started doing it, and that is super exciting to me because, you know, VHS, that's something I enjoy collecting, and you really can't find them many places besides like Goodwills and, you know, the Salvation Armies and thrift stores like that, and they usually don't have a lot of horror. But Cash and Culture, I know they accept all types of movies. They didn't have a ton of horror there, but this was one of them. The Guardian, of course, from the director of The Exorcist. I've never seen this before. It's nicely sealed up though. Looks brand new, and that's always cool to find a tape in that good of condition. I don't know if I'm going to like this or not, just based on the images. It looks like it would be more fantasy, weird type of horror, and you guys know I'm not really super into that, but figured I would grab it. I've heard pretty good things about it, so we're just going to have to see how I feel about it. Have not watched it yet. Alright, and then after that we have Body Snatchers. Bought this at that Cash and Culture as well, from 1993. Yeah, obviously another adaptation, I guess, of the Body Snatcher story, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I saw the one from the 70s. Wasn't a huge fan of it. I do own it on DVD and I've been wanting to kind of go back to, because I know a lot of people do enjoy that one, but I wasn't a huge fan, so I'm not sure if I'm going to like this one, especially since it's from the 90s. I think I've heard it's pretty okay, though. It's not bad or anything like that, but we'll see. Once again, just one that I felt like I had to pick up. These were only $1. That's the nice thing. They're selling them all for $1, and that's usually what I would pay for them. That's the same price that Goodwill's typically sell them for, as well as other thrift stores, so can't go wrong with that. Then after that, we have Young Frankenstein. This is the one that I bought along with that Godzilla film. Young Frankenstein, I've always heard great things about it. Seems like one of those ones that a lot of people really adore. Of course, starring Gene Wilder, and of course, it's more of like a parody of Frankenstein, and as well as I think like the other sort of monster or Universal films of that time. So I am curious on it, because sometimes this humor is a little hit or miss for me. So I'm gonna have to see if I like it or not. I'm very curious to see if I enjoy this or I just think it's a little bit too goofy, because like I said, I know a lot of people really adore this film. Then lastly, for the VHS tapes, we have The Faculty, and it actually is The Faculty. It's not some child's, home video. As I mentioned before, I picked up The Faculty once on VHS a while back. Was really excited to watch it for the first time, and I did not check the tape before buying it. Always check your tapes, people. I still forget to do it, even though I preach to always do it. And obviously I didn't learn my lesson, but it was a kid opening birthday or Christmas gifts on Christmas morning in the year 1993 with his dad. Not The Faculty at all. So I still have that tape. I feel wrong like just throwing it in the trash or anything, since it's some kid's memory, but they clearly did not care about it that much since they put it in a slip with The Faculty. But anyway, I did watch The Faculty, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's one of those ones that kind of slipped by me as a child. I always saw the trailer for it when popping in Halloween H2O, and was always very interested and wanted to check it out, but I just never got around to it, because I was more of a slasher fan back then too, I think. And this is obviously more of a body snatcher type of movie, much like Body Snatchers, and that's kind of one of the reasons I never watched it, but I enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it. It definitely has a lot of rewatchability, so I'm glad I finally got to check it out. Alright guys, and then lastly, we're going to move along with the Blu-rays here. I have the most Blu-rays out of everything, so just going to go through these. First up, we have Angst. This is one of the other ones that Brandon had sent me, and very excited to check this out. I've heard nothing but great things about this film, and I'm just very, very interested in it. It seems like something that I would be into and enjoy, so really excited to own this one. Thanks again to Brandon, because all the movies he sent were actually pretty good films, and I'm happy to own now. And speaking of ones I'm happy to own, we have What We Do in the Shadows. I have never seen this movie, but I heard great things about it. It's more of like a parody on vampire films, old vampire films, I believe, and this came out in like 2015 this one came out, so it was like right before I kind of got into podcasting and YouTube, because I didn't do that till 2016. So a lot of movies from 2015 I didn't really get to as much as I have in the recent 3 or 4 years. So yeah, this is one that I've wanted to watch because people say it's hilarious, really funny, but again, I'm kind of curious on it because I don't know if it's going to be humor that really resonates with me well. I'm very weird with my humor, so this is one that I definitely want to check out sooner than later. And then after that, guys, we have 30 Days of Nights Part 1, as well as 30 Days of Nights Part 2, Dark Days. 30 Days of Night, I do actually own this one, but I own it on DVD, so I can get rid of the DVD now and have this upgraded copy. Not one of my favorite films, honestly. I've tried to get into this one multiple times, and I just can't for whatever reason. It doesn't connect with me like it does other people, which is unfortunate because I know a lot of people think it's a really good movie, and it like brought vampire films back, and it just brought the brutality back to vampire films, and I do appreciate that, but just not really. I think it's just the style of it that doesn't really get to me in the way it does to other people, but you know, it's whatever. Part 2, I've never seen this one, mainly because I wasn't as interested in Part 1, so why would I check out Part 2? But now that I own it, that gives me an excuse to watch it. I've heard decent things about it. It's not obviously as good as the first one, but it's not a bad movie either, so we'll have to see about that one. I am curious. Then after that, we have, sorry guys, we have yet again a Part 1 and a Part 2, and that is The Crow and The Crow 2, oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter. The Crow and The Crow 2, City of Angels. Yeah, I've seen both of these movies a long time ago, probably like 10 years ago now when I was like 12, 13, 11, I don't know, some age around there. For some reason, I was just very curious on the Crow films, so I kind of watched all 4 of them back then, and I remember enjoying all 4 of them. Obviously, The Crow is more of a dark fantasy story. They all are more along the lines of dark fantasy. I remember Part 3 being a little more horror, but and Part 4 sucking completely, but you know, whatever. That's besides the point. Part 1 and 2, though, I recall liking. Part 1 is kind of depressing, especially with the whole thing that happened with Brandon Lee, but I've always wanted to kind of recheck it out, so I am happy to own it, as well as Part 2, because I remember liking that one as well. I know some people are iffy on the sequels, because it's one of those franchises where they think the first one's a masterpiece and the other ones kind of fall flat, but I remember enjoying them all for what they were, so very excited to finally get to revisit those. And then lastly, for the stuff that Brandon had sent me, we have the thing he was supposed to send me originally, and that is The Last House on the Left, Arrow Edition. Yes, I'm so happy that I finally have this in my hands. I just freaking love these box sets from Arrow. They're so thick, and they're just fun to hold. I feel like I'm holding something so expensive, which they are pretty expensive, but that's how I feel when I hold it. I feel important or something. And of course, this comes with the Blu-ray and the booklet here, and Last House on the Left honestly isn't one of my favorite movies, but I do like it for what it is. I appreciate the film, especially after watching 1972 movies. I now realize this is, you know, a very good movie to come out around that time period, because I did not really enjoy watching all those 72 movies, and yeah, this is very ahead of its time and came out in a time where you weren't seeing films like this at all, so do appreciate it for that. I'm excited to check out this Arrow. I actually do own this on just regular standard Blu-ray, so once again, that's one that I can now get rid of, sell off, or give to somebody, and have this little upgrade here, but super excited to have this, so thank you again to Brandon for all this. And then have a lot of movies that have like sequels here, so I'm just gonna hold them all up together because I'm lazy, but we have the Paranormal Activity movies, the first 4 films. I mentioned already, I picked this up in one of the horror hunting videos when the Cash and Culture that was near me did go out of business. It was their last day of operation, and I decided why not run in there and see if I could find anything cheap, and figured I'd grab these. It was $13 for all these together, which they're priced at like $8 a piece. You usually got like $2 off of them, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I mean, $8 a piece, and for $13 for all of them, that's pretty much a good deal in my book. And they're movies that I did not own, obviously, before on any formats, and had wanted to revisit for a while, so figured that was the best way to finally go ahead and grab them again. I watched part 1, 2, and 3 recently. I have not gotten to 4 again yet, so I remember liking 4 though. First one, I honestly get kind of bored with. I understand people like it because it's like atmospheric and it's like you're just following these regular people, but to me it's just boring. Like, I don't care to watch them sleeping in their bed every night. I understand there are some definitely good creepy moments to it, but it just doesn't really sit well with me, and it definitely didn't age well either, because when I was younger I thought it was kind of stupid, honestly, when I was younger, but it did end up creeping me out like later on in the day. I remember after watching it, and it didn't really have that effect on me now. It's just kind of like whatever. But part 2 and 3 I actually find more enjoyable. There's more characters in them. I think that helps a lot for me. And part 3 is honestly probably my favorite one. That's when you're following the girl from the first one when she's little. It's weird because part 2 is like a prequel to the first one, and then part 3 is like a prequel to the first one as well. So the way they made these movies is kind of interesting, honestly. But yeah, they're okay for what they are. They do have their creepy moments, so I have come to appreciate them a lot more over time. Alright, and then we have a few movies I actually picked up at Dollar Tree. First up being The Thompsons. I know this movie is awful. I think I saw this one once, maybe on like On Demand or Netflix or something like that. Some sort of TV streaming of sorts back in the day, and I remember thinking it pretty much sucked. And I know The Hamiltons is much better. That's the first movie. You know, this is just a sequel, but once again, got this at Dollar Tree. I've been looking at Dollar Trees all the time because people keep posting all these hauls of great movies they get there, and I couldn't find any. My Dollar Tree finally got these movies in, so decided I would pick this up because it's $1 for a Blu-ray. Why not? I don't care how bad it sucks. Then we have Residence with Hilary Swank. Obviously, this is more of a thriller. You can just tell by the cover and the title alone that this is probably straight up thriller. It looks like it would be like single white female type territory or something like that. But I don't know. It looks just gives off that like 90s thriller vibe to it. But I know nothing about this movie. But again, it was a Dollar Tree, $1. Obviously, Dollar Tree, everything's $1. So had to grab it. Why not? Yeah, had to grab it. Haven't watched it yet, obviously. Then we have The Gallows. This was one that I was really looking for in the Dollar Tree, and I was happy that they did have it because I heard nothing but bad things about it when it first came out, but nowadays I'm hearing like it's actually not that bad of a movie and people kind of over-exaggerated on it, so I do want to watch it. I have a feeling I'll probably think it's bad. That's just kind of me, but I don't know. I think this is like one of the cooler ones to find though, because it is like a newer movie, obviously, and Dollar Tree having it is pretty cool. It's got a slipcover and everything, so that's cool. Like I said, I don't have high hopes for it, but I've heard from several people that it's actually not as bad as it was made out to be, so we'll see. We will see. Then we have Jacob's Ladder. Picked this up on Blu-ray. I believe the Cash and Culture that I bought those VHS tapes at had this on DVD. Let JP borrow it. Never saw it again. But no, yeah, he borrowed it. He had to watch it for a 90s podcast that he was on, and he forgot to give it back, and you know, he would give it back eventually. I'm just kind of teasing, but it was on DVD, and found this on Blu-ray obviously there, so I thought, well, I mean, you could just keep that and I'll upgrade, and that works out for both of us because now he owns a copy of it, so now I have an upgraded copy. Jacob's Ladder, I only saw this one time and I thought it was utterly fantastic, so happy to own it again. Would like to rewatch it again here soon. It's a pretty long movie though. It's about 2 hours, so you know, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, so happy to have it again. And then finally, guys, for this update, we have Holliston Season 2 here. Is this Season 2? Yeah. Yeah, Season 2. Yeah, in my last update, I'm sure you guys remember, I had Holliston Season 1 that I had actually gotten from Mr. Derek. Shout out to Derek for Christmas. It was on my wish list, and I was happy that it was one of the things he got me because I absolutely love Holliston. I wish there was more seasons so bad. But I don't think I ever even watched Season 2 at all. JP kind of got me into Season 1, and we ended up watching all the episodes together, and yeah, that Blu-ray of Holliston Season 1 that Derek gave me, I already watched every single episode in one sitting, one night, and had a blast with it. I probably should have, you know, milked it a little bit and not watched it all at one time, but I would gladly go back to it because I just love it. It's a great sitcom for horror fans. I could see some people maybe not being into it because it is a little bit goofy, so I'm kind of surprised that I liked it. It took me a little bit to get into it, but once I did, I was really happy. I haven't watched any of Season 2 yet. Picked this up at that Cash and Culture though as well. The funny thing is, I always would look in Cash and Cultures hoping that I would find these. Never did, and so I finally, you know, was like, what the heck, I'll ask for it for Christmas, got it, and then they actually had Season 1 and Season 2 at that Cash and Culture, but it works out because you know, I just picked up Season 2. Now I have both seasons. I am happy. Everyone's happy. And there you go. Excited to check this out, but I'm kind of like putting it off because I don't want to end up watching it all and then that be it, because it is a bittersweet thing that there's only 2 seasons and you don't want to waste it. So, yeah, guys, that'll do it for this update. Thank you guys once again for joining me. Like I said, I'm probably going to slow down on buying things again here because it is clearly getting out of hand. And the funny thing is I haven't even really been watching a lot of these movies. I've been watching more so stuff for podcasts and my YouTube channel and things like that, which I did not, I'm sorry, I missed a review for the YouTube channel this past week. I just ran out of time, and that's probably unfortunately going to start happening again here. I was going to try to make sure I kept on that, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, thank you guys once again for joining me here, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.